Kaanadu Kaathan is a beautiful base which is between two international airports, the Trichy and the Madurai International Airport. So it has been abandoned. It hasn't been used for a long time. So our immediate plan is to restore it to its former glory and ensure that it becomes operational. And once we have the clearances, we'd like to start from there. Just like how we go into quite a playground or any other quiet place to learn to drive a car, it's quite similar to that. So when we have a place like Kaanadu Kaathan, which is away from all commercial traffic, it makes it very easy for a student to learn. We won't be able to set up in Meenambakam Airport because of the commercial traffic, the cargo, as well as corporate jets. So Kaanadu Kaathan would be a very good option for students to learn and to learn a new skill. The vision of JC Indian Airline Academy is that we want to be one of the world's leading airline training solution partner. We would start with deploying 3 aircraft in Tamil Nadu, and then we will bring in close to 20 aircraft in the next 5 years. So that's our plan. The cost of the program is going to be approximately 40 lakhs, or it depends on other taxations which are there in India. So we would be at par with other flight training providers in India. The duration of the program would be 10 months or max a year, and it's a skill-based training. So just like learning to drive a car, some would learn pretty fast, some would take their own time. So flying is quite similar to that. So you would acquire a new skill. So it depends on a student to student basis. So we would look at timelines of 10 months or below, or max 12 months for a student to complete 0 all the way up to the commercial pilot license. That's exactly what we're doing in New Zealand at the moment. So we would try to provide the same service and same quality here in India. Yes, in India we have more than 30 schools. There's been a recent audit by our civil aviation regulator. It's quite appalling that some of the standards they have found as not up to the mark. So as a training provider who's setting shop in India, we would ensure that we bring the New Zealand quality. We're proud to say that even in New Zealand, we ensured that our standards were much higher than what the New Zealand standards were. We brought in technologically advanced aircraft, brand new fleet. So that's been a major USP. Our motto is that no student should lose their life while training towards a commercial pilot license. So we like to mitigate risk, and to that fact, we would like to invest as much as possible. It's just not words, but we ensure that we invest in safety by investing quite a bit. With regard to the land allotment, that's still under talks with the Tamil Nadu Development Corporation, or whatever it's known as TIDCO. So we are in talks with them. So I know that Tamil Nadu government is quite keen to see a flight school being established in Tamil Nadu, because there's no flight training provider at the moment who's operational in Tamil Nadu. And coming from the state of Tamil Nadu, I definitely want to see operational flight schools in many parts of Tamil Nadu. And I want to see Tamil Nadu being in its rightful place of having a rightful place in the aviation sector. The pandemic has been a setback, yes, for the aviation sector. In fact, if you look at any, let it be the global financial meltdown, the first industry which gets affected is the aviation sector. But it's the same sector which bounces back really fast. We really take off, pick up and really take off really fast. I can tell you that, from being through the global financial meltdown, we've seen the industry bounce back and do extremely well till COVID hit us. I always tell people, once you hit rock bottom, the only way is to go up. And if you look at the forecast by different aircraft manufacturers, if you look at the forecast by our regulator, if you go into the DGCA website, you'll be surprised that all statistics are available there. There's probably about more than 40,000 pilots who are required in the next 18 years. So that's a big ask, and as a country we do have the capacity to produce able pilots. Salaries again range from airline to airline, so you have different perks. Yes, during the pandemic many airlines had to slash wages, but I think they are bouncing back. I've seen wages vary right from 80,000 Indian rupees up to a captain's wage of 7 lakhs plus. So it varies from an airline and whether you're a first officer or you're a captain. Yes, we started the New Zealand Airline Academy in New Zealand, and by God's grace, we've done extremely well. We have also been the training providers for AirAsia India. We have trained students from different countries. Till the pandemic actually shut the borders for New Zealand, we did extremely well. And now we are bouncing back again. During 2020, we had our annual celebration and our graduation, and the chief guest for the program was His Excellency Mr. Muktesh Pardeshi, the Indian High Commissioner to New Zealand. And when he saw the operations in New Zealand, he was quite surprised that Kiwi Indians, as they call it, are doing extremely well in the sector. And they said, why not you do something here in India? So that's how it all started. And a schoolmate of mine, he introduced me to the guidance cell in Tamil Nadu, and we started talking, and by God's grace, we've signed an MOU with the Tamil Nadu guidance to set shop here in Tamil Nadu. And as a local boy from Chennai, definitely I would want to see a flight school being established in Tamil Nadu. And even though we are doing extremely well in New Zealand, I want to ensure that the New Zealand quality and the standards that we've achieved in New Zealand is implemented and set shop here in Tamil Nadu.